man, all around, all around athletes that really made a difference. Man, this is going to be a tough one. But late ill kid at OneYoungsta, holding it down, bringing it street geek and nerd soul. What is up, my people? Today, special episode of Loungin. You see the title, you've seen the thumbnail. We're here, giving our flowers to a legend. I think we've given him a lot of flowers in his life, hopefully. So maybe we won't feel too, deficient in giving these flowers. But flowers for a legend, flowers for the families that have been lost. We're here to talk about KobeBryant. A big shout out to the chat before I get started. We got Cooley High in the house, Markeith Collins in the house. This one, I want to get started off with Markeith Collins. He makes a statement of, man, this is crazy. It's been a crazy couple of days. This one hits different. And before I get started, I wanted to remark on the young men and women that were lost. And I think this will kind of open it up for us as to why this is so different. Kobe and Gigi Bryant, Sarah Chester, Payton Chester, John, Keri, and Alyssa Altobelli. I hope I'm not messing their name up. Christina Mauser and Ara Zobayan. And I really mean no disrespect if I mess anyone's name up. Multiple families. This is a tragedy. Multiple families have been devastated in this one day. Imagine all the people that know you. And I mean, to a point where they care, where, you call them from time to time, how you doing? I miss you, whatever, what you've been up to. Imagine all of those people. Now imagine 9 folks. Imagine that network of people that have felt this loss outside of KobeBryant, the icon, of legend, which we're going to talk about. But just imagine the loss and the mourning. Mothers, aunts, uncles, cousins, best friends, little brothers, older brothers, sisters, mamas, all of that. And this is just a huge blow to us collectively. And that's why I think this feels so different. Like say if a certain icon or a legend passes away and it's just him or her by themselves, there's a swell of emotion for this one person. But you're looking at the swell of emotion for this person and what this person meant to basketball, what this person meant to tech industry, to black business, what this person meant to entrepreneurism, what this person meant to the sport, and then also what this person meant as a symbol of fatherhood and family. And that's why that is in this box and that hurts. And then we see how many families. This is what, 4 or 5 families, 6 families affected by this. This is crushing and sad. And I was trying to figure out a way to handle this video. And I got a couple of things that I want to touch on. But Sunday I wanted to say something. Monday I wanted to say something. But it just seemed like it was tough to try to gather what I wanted to say or how I wanted to say it, or also dealing with the chat if anything arose. But I think I'm ready enough now. Now, big shout out to Therese. Therese said, can't believe this is happening. This stuff is just unreal and hard to believe and accept. For me, I'll start with the first thing. A lot of times stuff like this hits me as tough because I grew up with a lot of older people. I would stay around my grandma and grandpa a lot. My granddaddy was doing it, always, in my life and stuff like that. Maybe more so than my biological father. And growing up around older men, like much older, like senior men, in my mind, as I was raised, and I know everybody's experience is different, but my experience was you die in your 90s, you die in your 80s. You know, you die at like 88, 92, 94, you know, and seeing these, you know, even people that aren't celebrities passing at 40 just, it's just mind-boggling to me, because when I was younger, it just seemed like you don't die at that age. And I mean, it's not that I did not see people die, or disasters or murders or whatever, but just in my mind, you know, death is something that comes. That transition is something that comes when you're older, and then also when you still, meaning like Kobe and these other families, still have young or younger children that they haven't finished raising. And you know, as much as I talk to my father or my mother, I can't imagine. And I'm 30 at 37. So as much as I talk to my father or mother, I can't imagine being 14, 17, 10, whatever, and not being able to even be angry at my father. Or, you know, it's just, it hurts. And I know that pain is there, and I feel for them. And I know a lot of other people are feeling for them. And I went this long to express that, because a lot of people are saying, well, why are all these people sad? Why are all these people crying because of a celebrity? And I'm like, this is more than just a celebrity passing. This is more than just an icon passing. There are different angles and facets of this tragedy. Families have been devastated by this. And I can't imagine waking up and getting some news tomorrow that my mom, my brother, and my sister are gone. You know, just all at once. That's, you know, so my heartfelt, you know, prayers go out to all of these families that were affected, because I know this is just, it hurts, and it's touching, and it's a lot for them to deal with. It's just a lot for them to deal with, and to go through something like this is a lot. I don't. Do you? Can you want to? All right, come here, little guy. So it's, you know, it's a lot to deal with, and of course over these last over these last days, you know, looking at my little guy right here and looking at my wife and just thinking thoughts like that, you know, like, you know, it can be gone so fast. So, you know, for people asking, you know, why, you know, oh, it's no big deal. It's just, you know, it's just some celebrity. No, it's more than this. People are able to see themselves, see their families in these people that have passed. And it's more than, you know, just one layer to this. As far as KobeBryant, the man, the legend, of course he came in '96. I used to watch basketball like crazy. So much, don't clown me, but so much. I remember writing a paper in school about why being a sportscaster was the best job in the world. You get to watch sports, you get to sit in the front, and you get paid to do it. You know, and I just watched. I played basketball, I watched basketball, and I was watching 5, 6+ games a week. Like I was watching like preseason, summer leagues, and stuff like that. And in 1996, the draft class was crazy. And depending on your age, you might not know these names, but you're talking about not just Kobe. All right, we had Kobe, Stephon Marbury. Now, look, I know his attitude, but Stephon Marbury was sweet for a second. Ray Allen, T-Mac, Allen Iverson. Like you have like these players that are just these players that were all kind of larger than life. And it was a shift in the game at that time of, you know, how the game was being played, how the game was being perceived. And to a certain degree, it almost felt like, or almost seemed like we grew up, depending on your age. And like I said, once again, I'm 37. So I was even though these players were older than me by, say, 4 or 5 years, something like that, or 6 years, maybe something like that, it still felt like I was growing up with them, sort of. They seemed kind of like they could be your older brothers while watching them, while playing, Summer League and AAU and Christian League and, Pop Warner or high school or all those leagues that I'm sure many basketball players probably played in and stuff like that. And you see these guys, you mimic these guys, you look up to these guys, and you love their moves, and they just become part of your sort of like training regimen of just like watching them play, seeing how they play, applying it to yourself. And someone like Kobe had so much charisma off the court, and his interviews about, and I know sometimes his play style wasn't what I would prefer, but his views on playing, on training, on being a champion and how to be a champion drive so far into the heart of a lot of competitors. Whether you're playing tennis or volleyball or whatever, it's that kernel of wanting to continue to top yourself and move on. And out of that class, the two players that I think I liked the most, or that I enjoyed the most, or that I followed the most, was probably Allen Iverson, because I'm from Virginia, and Allen Iverson was just, I saw him in Georgetown, and it's crazy, and Kobe. Those two are the two that I followed the most. You do have other players, like I said, you got like Kerry Kittles and stuff like that were dope, no doubt. But Kobe was just one of those players that was just like, wow. I didn't always agree with his off the court stuff, but he was just he wanted to win. Maybe more so than any other player on his team. And stuff like that drove home to not only people that played the game, but also people that saw his kind of like his words on competition and winning and kind of reinventing yourself and working hard on being part of the community that is always reinventing themselves. Like you have that Black Mama commercial with Kanye where he's like, more, do more, keep winning, go for. He's like, I've broken all the records, break more. And Kobe had that drive, and I don't think we had seen a drive like that since probably Jordan. And that's why I had followed him so long, and so many other people had followed him. So he, not only have many of us maybe in my age range feel kind of like we grew up with him, but he was such a huge part of culture. You know what I'm saying? Kobe was, he was in commercials, and he was, always in interviews, and he was, he never really shied away from, the press. He always had some insightful words about like competition. And then on top of that, he let people know that when he stepped on, when it was all business, you know what I'm saying? Like he loved the game, but it was all business on that court. And when you feel like there's a contemporary that, he even rapped. He had a joint with Brandy that I actually had that record. But from Shaq and Kobe to Shaq and Gasol, and to Kobe and Gasol, and we saw him rise and fall and rise again. There were times where he might have been at odds with the ownership or whatever, but we saw him continually pushing, and it felt like we were a part of his journey. And it's similar to those statements of people when they ask, like say for Star Wars, who owns Star Wars? Do the fans own Star Wars? Does Disney own Star Wars? When you start to buy something and buy into something, you become a participant in its, in its enjoyment, and you start to shape, what it becomes and stuff like that. So, Kobe kind of became many of our, surrogate friend or surrogate teammate, or that we were like, oh, Kobe did it like this, or maybe I should try a move like that, or maybe I should work on my three, or maybe like things like that you would see as a player, or even someone in business, as we saw him transition to, as always trying to reinvent yourself and take another avenue. And I think that's a part that many people are missing, because he was such a huge part of our culture of basketball. And in the 96 class of the draft class specifically was a real turning point of that mixture of hip hop culture and basketball. And once you start to permeate outside of sports into hip hop culture, you're opening a larger culture. And then Kobe was also on that springboard that started to open up to like the worldwide NBA kind of brand. So, Kobe is so huge because he's at this nexus of like sports, music, hip hop culture, also going global from NBA, and being seen, accepted, and shown in front of millions, in a way that other sports stars and athletes before, due to tech reasons and whatever, just weren't happening. And the people that kind of grew up with that and were sort of alongside him took part in that journey, which shows not only how important he was, but how important his journey was. Seeing him fail, seeing him fall, seeing him get injured, seeing him come back. I remember, I can't remember what podcast I was on, and I remember kind of talking about Kobe's, when he started to re-injure a lot and stuff like that. And I remember just being like, I don't want him to get injured because I care about him after the game. And it's just stuff like that it's weird because of course you never met the man, but you start to get those feelings of, I don't know, attachment or ownership. And so you have the tragedy, and then you have the huge part of culture, and that's why this man was so important. On top of the wins and the MVPs and the steals and the rebounds and the points, all of that makes him a statistical legend. But he was a legend as far as how he represented himself, represented his family, his self as a father, and also the NBA. And it was beautiful to see. Now, to the chat, Therese said, those two were stars of that class. I remember at elementary and grade school, the debates always had them two names in it. Yeah, Kobe and Iverson were that was the thing. That was like, is it Kobe or Iverson? And then even that finals, where Kobe stepped over Tyronn Lue, and like just like those things are just moments. So that's why Kobe is a legend. That's why we need to give him his flowers. That's why he matters so much to us. And that's why this tragedy is such a huge ordeal, because so many people were affected, so many families were affected. And, I can only send my love out to those families, because once again, you're talking about 9 people, and who knows the network of mothers, daughters, best friends, brothers, cousins, of 9 different people, and 3 families that were majorly devastated, on top of the other families that lost someone too. So that's why it's important. So I just wanted to get that out of the way, of the reason why he's a legend, the reason it's important, the collective mourning, and why we are mourning, and why it matters to us. Because I think a lot of people, a lot of the conversation has been lately that, a lot of the conversation has been that, I guess a lot of the conversation has been that, why are people crying over this person? Why is he going crazy over this or that person? And why do we care so much? So I just wanted to kind of put some context into that. I know it's like a long way going around it, But of course, I'm still trying to just get some of these thoughts together, some of these thoughts out, because Kobe was Kobe. You know what I'm saying? Big shout out to Deliberator Dory. She said, I haven't heard of KobeBryant's music, but I'm open to checking it out. He actually had a little flow. Like, I mean, don't get me wrong. He ain't no Rakim, but he had some flow. And I was just like, back then, I was like, oh, snap, Kobe rap too? You know what I'm saying? You had Shaq, he rap. You had Kobe that, like, look, don't get me started. Like, I was like, yo, Kobe is the man. I wasn't always down with, you know, the Lakers, but I was like, Kobe is the man. And that's why it matters. So when it comes to our culture and how he permeated our culture, when I mean our culture, I mean on an insular kind of view, Black culture. That's why he matters. And then there's sports culture, stuff like that. But I would be remiss if I didn't touch on what seems to be a problem in our negative culture around the internet in general. I believe Kobe had been gone, had passed maybe not even 5 or 6 hours. And I start seeing these articles that are like the complicated history of Kobe Bryant. And then you have people making statements of you have what is it, Ari Shaffir or whatever that dude's name is. Hold on, I want to pull up his name so I know I'm saying it properly. So I'm not, messing anything up. Ari Shaffir, who seems to proudly get up online and talk about how, Kobe has finally died and finally, he's a rapist and he's gone. And then Evan Rachel Wood made a statement about him being a rapist as well. Both statements which are actually false. Anyone who followed the case, especially someone like myself who was following it at that time, so much stuff about this young lady had been debunked. There was video of her talking about how she was going to make so much money and kind of like bragging about it. She was essentially, what happened is you had a young lady that entertained stars. She liked to be with stars. She happened to be with one. She thought she could make a come up and she tried it. You have someone who cheated on his wife, stepped outside of his marriage. That's a personal issue, but it is not rape. So no, Kobe did not rape her. There's tons of evidence proving that he didn't. The prosecution witnesses even contradicted what the prosecution was trying to say, and then they got rid of the witness. And I got links to it down below, so you can read through it yourself. But Kobe did not rape anyone. He didn't. The girl she liked to be with stars. And she was with stars. Somebody probably told her she could make a come up, and she went for it, and that was that. You see a situation where literally there's proof of her bragging about it. It's not rape. You know what I'm saying? It's not. You have tons of evidence of people debunking her, talking about how she was having sex with other people after the incident to be able to kind of like get them, I guess, either on camera or get them to, kind of be part of this, I guess, I don't know, takedown scheme of like having sex with people and being like, you got to pay me now or whatever. Who knows? I don't know what was in the girl's mind. I have no idea. All I know is he did not rape her. And the interesting thing is we have these two that seem to be so interested in jumping out directly after this man dies, only to be like, he raped someone. Now, think about this. If you cared so much, where were you last week? Where were you last month? Where were you 2 months before that? 2 weeks before that? A year before that? You waited until this man and his daughter died. And you couldn't give it 24 hours before you were ready to jump out. Or, well, excuse me, I actually do think they gave it 24 hours. So I'll retract that previous statement. But you couldn't, it's almost like you couldn't wait to stomp on the grave. And it's hard for me to find words to describe how tactless that is, how contradictory it is, especially with someone like Ari Shaffir, who has unresolved allegations of his own, when Kobe's has been resolved, and Evan Rachel Wood, who seemed to have nothing but praise for David Bowie when he passed, when she literally said, "I'm shaking and crying over David Bowie. No other musician meant more to me than him. Devastated." Well, David Bowie, it's well known that he slept with young girls. And when I say young girls, I'm not talking about 21. No, I'm talking about statutory rape all day. Look through rock and roll. Rock and roll is full of dudes with young little girls. And David Bowie was not the exception. But somehow, you couldn't wait to say something about someone who was black. And then we have, unfortunately, the young lady on MSNBC, Alison Morris, who said the Los Angeles, and then she dropped the derogatory term. I've listened to it multiple times because I didn't want to trip. I didn't want to be like, oh, well, I'm just saying she's saying it. After listening to it, I don't know, 10, 15 times, no, she said it. It wasn't a slip. It was a situation where she was trying to be funny. And then even in her retraction, old girl was like, oh, I was trying to say, I got confused between the word Lakers and Knicks. And it was like, no, there was no K sound in what you said. It was just the strong G sound. And now you're going to disrespect the man and all of us, and then disrespect us again by saying we're stupid, by saying we don't know what we heard. And it's ugly. It's gross mixed characterization. And it's just racism, at the base of it is just racism. And it's sad. And it's a shame that you can't even let someone go through a tragedy. Like, imagine his daughter or his wife having to see that when they're already dealing with who knows how many cameras or whatever. We've got to have, there's got to be a line somewhere. And I think the reason we don't is because people want empathy for themselves, but don't want to give it. Had you or someone said this about Evan Rachel Wood's brother, father, something like that, she'd be crying tears talking about how it was, it was wrong that you would say this and how could you, but seems so ready to say it herself. And it's just classless. And big shout out to Therese said breaking news in Atlanta 25 minutes ago, LeBron James has been yo man, no way. Like like what? Hold up. CNN, really? No way. Hold on. What are y'all saying? What are y'all? Ain't no way. Y'all tripping right now. Like, y'all playing, right? Like, man, I'm about to say, like, y'all don't play like that, bro. Like, don't play. Like, don't play. But Therese says the last 11 to 12 years, we've been taking hits from the left and right within our culture in the sense of losing people. we could never have thought we would lose before their time, and also the way we lost them. And it's crushing and it's hurtful. The last thing I'll touch on as far as the partaking in the I guess the gleefulness and reveling in someone's death is a little bit different, but TMZ somehow, and this isn't the first time they've done it, but since people want clicks so bad and want to run stories so fast, everybody wants to be so quick to be first. We hear that Rick Fox is dead. TMZ is reporting it before the police can even notify the family. There's so many things that's going on with disregard to basic human decency. And it's sad. So I did want to touch on that because all of this is based in the roots of racism. Not the TMZ. The TMZ thing is just bleeds it leads. But Alison, Evan Rachel Wood, and of course Ari Shaffir, it's based in racism. It's based in racism. It just is what it is. And there's nothing else that I have to really do to cover that. But I did want to touch on it because it's so hurtful to do that to someone at a time like this. You know, I could see if this was 5 years from now, 10 years from now, and you wanted to talk about it, fine. But you're talking about something that happened today. I mean, at the time that they were doing it, or within the last 24 hours. And you're using the death of a legend to try to like be seen. And it's just sad. And it just shows, the funny thing is it doesn't show how bad that person was. It shows how classless you are. Hi. Mm-hmm. That's right. That's what's up. And it just shows how classless you are. But that's the bad. But the good is that we all got a chance to, in some way, grow up, if you were around my age group, or in some way, either in some way grow up or some way experience KobeBryant and his basketball genius, basketball IQ, his love for the game and his love for family. The beautiful thing is, I mean, sadly, but the beautiful thing is he was using the helicopter to be able to spend more time with his family, not less. One of the most beautiful things is that you see a father excited about his family, a father on fire for his family. And someone like me I've been on record saying that I think that the Black family has been under attack for years and years and years. So I love to see the Black family together. And in this case, most recently, of course, you've probably seen that GIF of Kobe and Gigi at the Brooklyn game, I think. And he's just breaking down the game tour, and they're talking back and forth and just seeing them like relating. And it's just like, that's beautiful. And it's, dang. Black fatherhood, especially on display like that, is a beautiful thing. And I'm glad that we got a chance to see it, because not all of us got that opportunity growing up. Oh, man. All right. So not all of us got that opportunity growing up to see that, to have our fathers around, to have our fathers, come into our games and stuff like that. And to see stuff like this, see stuff like LeBron, see stuff like, can't remember the other player's name right now, Zoe or whatever. It's awesome. It's awesome. And I, even as I look at the little guy over here, I can't wait until we can talk and, exchange things, and I can teach him stuff, and he can show me stuff, and it's that moment in time is something that Black fatherhood just needed, and I love that gift. I've watched that gift back at least hundreds of times already. Just seeing them talking and her like, yeah, yeah, and them like, yeah, it's beautiful. And that's the good about this. The good, you know, the good about this is that even for such a small period of time in the vast, you know, I guess the vast perception of history, we got a moment to experience this man's ability, this man's love, his passion for his family, on and off the court, his passion for the game, see his ability, be entertained by his charm and his you know his IQ on the court, and that helped us, you know, escape whatever might have been at that time. Even if we were having playful discussions about who's the best of the all time or whatever, you know, he helped us get through those times. And it's something that it's beautiful. It's really beautiful. And I hope that we can continue to give not only Kobe his flowers, but all of these people that are such a huge part of our culture, their flowers before they're gone, because we truly never know. Like LeBron said, like, I think his post said something to the extent of like, I just got off the phone with you a few hours ago. You know what I'm saying? So yeah, beautiful, just a beautiful moment in time, and gone way too soon. And I feel my heart is broken for the Bryants, for the Chesters, for the Altobellis, and I please excuse me if I'm messing up your name, for the Mausers and for the Zobayans. My heart truly goes out to y'all. I am so sorry that you have to experience this, and I cannot imagine getting a call or finding out tomorrow that say my mom, my dad, and my sister or something like that is gone. And I truly, you know, I truly hope that you can find some comfort in this, you know, to get through this. And you know, I just pray that you guys can take it day by day and make it through. So yeah, I think that's where I'll leave it. I tried to get my thoughts together as much as I could. You know, I tried. I tried to get, you know, my thoughts together as much as I could, and I think that's the best I can do for now. Of course, I'm not going to do any other videos on Kobe. I think I've said about all I could say. Hopefully, I could get my point across to a certain degree. And you know, it's a shame that you know, we had to see the way certain people negatively attacked after this, and it is so sad that these families have to deal with this at this time with such a large microscope on them. So guys, of course, yeah, Jenna, Ted is gone. Yeah, he's out. Ted is gone. Uh, it it's just, you know, it's, you know, it's sad. It's sad, and we really don't know how we'll, you know, get through this one. But I'm hoping that, you know, we can be better in times like this, meaning we as media, And hopefully we as a culture can be better to the people that are experiencing this firsthand, with this directly attached to it, and be more respectful of them, be more caring of them, be more empathetic and loving to them, because they need it, especially at this time, with something like this. Big shout out to Jenna James. Big shout out to Therese, the Liberator Dorsey. Big shout out to Cooley High, Marquis Collins. Thank you for rolling through. All I can say is hopefully you're doing it already, but just make sure that you guys are fully, loving and emoting and doting on each other and giving people their flowers while they're here. Because we just really don't know. We just really, really don't know. So guys, holler at me. I'm out at you. Down in them comments, we can talk. Of course, if there's any craziness, you will be gone, especially from a video like this. But, of course, much love to all y'all. Love your beautiful sunshiny faces. And I will see you next time when we can talk about some things that can help us have some joy. So, me to you, see you next time. And peace, peace, peace. You know what? I'll bring it up. Peace, 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 Cooley High, peace, 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 Marquis, peace, 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 Therese, peace, peace. Yeah, Deliberated Dorsey. Come on. I said Deliberated Dorsey. Yeah, Jenna James. Peace, peace, Jenna James. Peace. Come on. A peace, peace. Yeah. Peace, peace. To the east, peace, peace, peace. To the west, peace, peace. Yeah. Come on. Ha. Get live, y'all. Come on. Ha. Peace, y'all.